So today's topic I'm really passionate about, and I think there just needs to be a lot more information out there and a lot more awareness on this topic because it's really important. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my Back to School, Back to Health series. So most of these videos were kind of like geared towards teachers but could kind of fit towards anyone. However, this video is pretty much geared towards teachers and that's because today we're going to be talking about what to do if one of your students has a food allergy. So food allergies is just something I'm really passionate about. I personally don't actually have any food allergies. However, I know that if someone does have a food allergy, it's really important for those around him or her to just be aware of that and to just understand what that means and to understand what they need to do when around that person that has the food allergy. And it just really bothers me whenever people don't respect food allergies. It's a problem. So it's just really important for people to be aware of signs and symptoms of an allergy, what to do if someone has an allergy, what to do if you eat that food that is the allergen, and just a lot of things I think people need to be aware of and I think need to be talked about more. And it's just really important to just know the signs and symptoms of someone having an allergic reaction. Okay, so first we'll just talk about what a food allergy is. So all a food allergy is just when the immune system reacts in response to eating a certain food. And no one really knows the cause of food allergies, which I think is really interesting. And this is part of why it makes allergies really difficult to deal with sometimes. So whenever you hear food allergy, most people think of nuts, especially peanuts. However, the most common food allergy that people may have is dairy, and more specifically cow's milk. So nuts are just more commonly known because usually people who have allergic reactions to nuts, it's a more visible reaction, and a lot of times if someone has a reaction to a nut, it usually tends to be more detrimental than someone who has an allergic reaction to milk, because usually milk allergy reactions are usually just digestive based, whereas nut allergy reactions are usually respiratory based and close up the air passages and people can't breathe. And then some other common food allergies are eggs, which I was pretty surprised at, and then shellfish, wheat, gluten, and soy. So you might be kind of wondering, why is this even important? Why do I need to know this information if I don't have an allergy myself? And this is really simple because honestly, potentially a kid's health or even their life could be at risk. So what I want to talk about next is just what to do as a teacher if one of your kiddos has a food allergy and how to protect them from a reaction. However, I'm not an allergist or a doctor, so just keep that in mind. And this won't completely guarantee a kid's safety. You honestly probably can't guarantee a kid's safety because you can't control what other kids bring or what other kids do, what other faculty members at your school do. All you can really do is just control what you do. And so hopefully these guidelines can help you control what you do, and hopefully that can help prevent reactions for your kid and help keep them safe and healthy. So with that being said, here's some things I've come up with. So first, talk to the parents of the child. Just ask them, has the kid actually been tested for an allergy, or do they just think that the kid has an allergy? Whichever the answer is, you still need to respect the kid and the allergy and treat it as if it was tested, because that doesn't mean they're not going to still have a severe reaction and it could cause a lot of issues. So just believe the parents when they say the kid has an allergy, and believe the kid when the kid says, I have an allergy. And if the kid hasn't been tested, encourage the parents to test their child. That just allows the parents to have a game plan of what to do if the kid has a reaction, or just to develop a plan of how to prevent reactions. They also might discover that there's some other allergens that the kid also has that they didn't know was also causing issues. So just really encourage parents to test their kids for allergies. You don't want to be careless just because the kid doesn't have a documented allergy. Just be respectful and keep the kids safe. Another thing to ask the parents is, what has the child's reactions been like in the past if they've had a reaction? And what are those symptoms? Do they cough? Do they get hives? Do they have digestive problems? Does their throat close up? Do their lips swell? Does their mouth itch? so many different things. Every single person in every single case is different. So just ask them what has happened in the past so that you can look out for that. And ask the family, do they have a plan of action if the kid is exposed to the allergen? So do they have some medicine that the kid can take? Can they keep some of that here at the school in the nurse's office? Do they use an EpiPen? If you are in a case that you do have to use an EpiPen, make sure you're trained and know how to use it. I'm pretty sure all the teachers here have to be trained in using an EpiPen. However, if your school doesn't require you to, talk to your administration about that and really encourage them to train all teachers, because it's a pretty important thing. Especially if a kid has an allergic reaction, it could literally be life or death for someone. Also, just make sure that the child is aware of their allergy and aware of how important it is for him or her to stay away from that food. Some kids might not completely understand what's at stake, and so just talk to the parents and talk to the child and get on the same page about the risks. And just make sure that the child understands that he or she can't eat what Bobby and Susie are eating over there because it contains milk, and Timmy can't have milk. Also, make sure the child knows that he or she can come to you if he's feeling sick or if she feels like she was exposed to an allergen. Just make sure that they feel comfortable coming to you and that you don't make them feel guilty or that they don't feel ashamed. And just make sure that you give them your full attention if they do come to you, so that you really can be paying attention and trying to figure out, is this a reaction or do they just kind of not feel good? Don't make a child feel ashamed or guilty to come to you when it has to deal with their health. And just ask the family how severe the allergy is. Can he be around it and just not consume it and he's fine? Or is it if he's even in the same room with it, his throat will start closing up and he might have to go to the hospital? It can be from any end of the spectrum. Just make sure that you are aware so that you can control what goes on in the classroom and around that child. So the next thing I want to talk about is talking to other parents in the class. So first of all, don't call the kid out and don't tell them which kid it is that has the food allergy. Pretty sure you actually can't do that anyways, because it's private and confidential information. So just ask parents, please don't pack this item in your kids' lunches because we have someone that is allergic and could have a severe reaction to it. So there's a lot of schools nowadays that are nut-free zones or peanut-free zones, which makes me really happy. Does it suck that you can't have peanut butter or almond butter or almonds or whatever for a snack or for your lunch at school? Yeah, kind of. However, a child's health is a lot more important than that snack. So I think this is a really great thing that we're slowly transitioning towards. Does it suck? Kind of. However, it's better for the children. It keeps them safe. So it's necessary. So if you are at a school where you aren't supposed to have nuts, and as long as other faculty are also following the same rules, then talking to the parents and just trying to kind of control what goes on in your classroom is probably the only thing you'll really need to worry about. Because, we can't really control what parents pack for their children. So you just have to do the best you can and keep that child away from those allergies as best you can to try to prevent a reaction. So now let's focus on what to do if you or one of the other kids in the class does eat a food that has that allergen. So first, if it's you, try not to eat it in the classroom or anywhere near the child with the allergy. Go in the teacher's lounge, maybe go out in the hall for a second, go to another teacher's classroom that doesn't have a student with the food allergy, or just don't eat that food. Also, after you eat your meal that does have that food allergen, try not to touch anything, don't be grading papers while you're eating it, try not to touch the doorknob, and make sure you go wash your hands before you come in contact with that student again. And if it's one of the other students in the class that are eating a food that has that food allergen, try to see if you can split them up at lunch. I know some schools have tables where students with food allergies sit separately from those in their class. That just seems really sad to me and I don't like that idea. However, if that's what y'all have and that's a procedure that y'all do at y'all's school, make sure the child sits at that table. Otherwise, just try to make sure that child doesn't sit near someone who eats that food with the allergen. And hopefully that student is not their best friend. Also, try to take your kids to the bathroom after lunch. You might do this anyways because kids need to go to the bathroom like all the time, but especially after lunch, and just make sure that they wash their hands after eating, especially if they did have that food that another student is allergic to. This just allows them to just wash that residue of that food off their hands, and it just prevents, one kid touching a pencil and then letting the other student who has the food allergy also touch that pencil. Kid touches the pencil, then touches the mouth starts swelling up. It could be anything. It just always depends on the kid and how their body and immune system react to that allergen. The last thing I want to talk about is just knowing some common signs and symptoms of food allergies. So like I said earlier, the most common food allergies are milk, eggs, nuts, shellfish, wheat, gluten, and soy. So the symptoms a child will have will vary depending on the allergy and on the child's immune system. So there are no severe allergies, only severe reactions. So your job is just to notice symptoms and signs that a student is having a reaction and try to notice them when they first start so the reaction doesn't become severe. However, in some cases, some kids' reaction becomes severe super quickly, and that just gives you less time to put a plan into action. So symptoms can be respiratory related, digestive related, they can just be something on the skin, so many different things, and that's why it's really good to just make sure you talk to the parents beforehand and understand what's happened in the past with that child. So here's just a list of some common signs and symptoms of an allergic reaction. And your child might experience something a little bit different. So this is just a list of stuff I've collected online, so definitely feel free to screenshot this, maybe print it out, hang it up somewhere in your classroom, save it somewhere on your phone that you can get to easily, just so you can go back and kind of recognize, is this a symptom of a food allergy, or is the child just coughing because there's seasonal allergies and everyone's coughing right now. And keep in mind, the kid isn't going to say, oh, Miss Teacher, I have hives. I think I'm having a food reaction. They're probably not going to say that. They're probably just going to be itching, or their body's just going to start like getting really red, and you're going to be like, Tommy, why is your arm red? What did you eat today? And just talk to the kid, try to ask them how are they feeling, call the school nurse. You may end up having to do other things that are in your plan of action. Just try to figure it out and just try to keep the kid as calm as possible, because you don't want the kid to have a panic attack along with their allergy attack. That just probably wouldn't mix well. And foodallergy.org has some really good information, and I'll put a link to their website down below. They have some more symptoms and signs on there, and just some really good information to show you how to recognize them, or some common things children might say if they are experiencing a reaction, and just a lot of really good information. So I just really want to encourage you to go check out their site. So just always keep in mind, there's no such thing as a severe allergy or mild allergy. There's only severe and mild reactions. So just because a kid has a mild reaction to nuts doesn't mean he might not have a severe reaction later. There is some research that says that food allergies get worse with each exposure and each reaction. However, that's only true for like a small percentage, like 1 to 5% of people with allergies. With that being said though, I actually know quite a few people who have had food allergies and that have gotten worse over time with exposure and with reaction. So out of all the people in the world, according to Google, there's about 32 million people who have food allergies. And 5% of that is about 1,600,000. So that's still a handful of people that's in that 5%. So you just have to really be careful and really be aware. With all this being said, if you know someone with a food allergy, or if you have a food allergy, don't let this scare you. Just let it be knowledge that you can use to your advantage whenever necessary. And if you do need a substitute for your nut butter, I discovered this great non-nut nut butter. It's made with soy, so if you're allergic to soy, don't eat it, please. But it's called Wow Butter, and it's actually really good. There's crunchy, there's creamy. This is the only brand I know of, but I'm sure there's other brands as well. But it's actually really good, and you should definitely try it. And it's a really great substitute for any type of nut butter. Anyways, if this video was helpful or informative, just be sure to click the like button, subscribe if you'd like to see more videos, and just keep a lookout for my next video. It'll be coming soon, and until then, keep working on your health and fitness goals and go try out this nut butter. Thanks for watching. Bye!